What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for not One Piece, but Dr. Stone. Chapter 115. I do not have any Dr. Stone volumes, so I'm just going to feature a different volume of One Piece for this review. Now, I have stated a few times after Shokugeki no Soma ended that I would not be rushing into another series, even though I really enjoyed Dr. Stone. Right now, I'm not super feeling the new arc necessarily. It doesn't mean it's bad, just not super feeling it, not really something I really wanted to talk about. So I've been playing around. My Hero Academia has been pretty good lately. Black Clover is ending its arc, and there was a big thing at the end of the last chapter and stuff. But this chapter, I think it almost beats One Piece 950. Chapter 115 of Dr. Stone. Guys, this is what manga is all about. Getting you that feels right there in the chest. That is what manga, that is why we read it. We read manga, we watch anime, we enjoy video games, television, movies, music, because it makes us feel something. Whether it's excitement or joy or even upset or like in a good way, you know, if it makes us feel something, then it's great. And this chapter makes us feel more than anything else this week. And that is chapter 115 of Dr. Stone. Because, okay, we jump in, popularity poll, Ryusui, of course, my captain, gets second place in popularity poll. Of course, we knew Senku would be number one. Gen, who, once again, I'm a bit of hit and miss, of course, but he's popular. He's third place. And the rest you can, of course, check out. But the top three wise men, they call it, at the beginning of the chapter with the color page for the popularity poll is, you know, like the three wise men got the top three spots. Okay. So then we move on to the chapter. Now, the chapter basically is like, okay, so they found the treasure chest, they found the stone chest, and it's like, we're looking for platinum. We're going to find platinum. She ends up actually breaking the bottle, like she's moving the rock, and it's like, crash. The glass bottle breaks, and it's like, oh my god, it's just regular sand, what the hell? And then she realizes, wait a minute. After all these years, or, well, not all these years, but after all this time, every time, like, this is the type of thing that we all think is worthless, and Senku, he's the one who goes, but this is so valuable, I can turn this into this, and he does miraculous things, so he's like, there must be some value to this sand. So she gathers it all up, and moves on. Now, of course, evil Mr. I have a Jafar mustache, so like sees the glass shard sort of idea of the bottle that all the sand was kept in and goes, so might be indicating a few things there. That being said, we move on to Senku and his group, and they're complaining about, like, you know, not having platinum and not having the proper abilities to make a drone and all this stuff. That's when they receive the package down the riverside, and it's not sand, it's gold dust. And they're like, wow, gold dust, like that's why it's sparkling and everything. And they sifted through it, and Senku brings up that it would have taken many years, you know, of sifting through the river and sort of idea to find all the gold and blah, blah, blah. And we're flashing back and forth between Senku and Byakuya, who of course is Senku's dad, not by blood, but of course it's his dad. And you see him, you know, this will be good for the next generation for when Senku wakes up, pretty much. Because he always had faith that Senku would wake up and do what he would not have enough life in him to do, not enough years to do. So here they have the gold dust, and he's like, sometimes really, really rare, you can find within gold dust, there will be tiny bits of platinum, and he shows it on his fingertip, and it's just a little bit, right? It's this little tiny bit of platinum, and they're like, wow, is that enough? And he's like, well, no, I mean, I'd really like to have more, but we got to make do with what we got. Platinum is super rare. And then they're like, well, we'll, I forget the little, I'm really bad with names, guys, for mangas, but the dude with, of course, the headpiece, he's adorable, runs away, is like, oh, I'll go down the river right now and get you a butt ton. And Senku's like, no, don't worry about it. It would take decades to find even this much platinum. Like, that's how rare it is. He explained, like, the Earth's crust and 0.0001 grams of platinum is found every bit, you know, sort of idea. Like, the math is astonishing and stuff. And then he's sifting through it, and he's just trying to see if there's any more nuggets of platinum in there. And then he finds more than just one. or 2 or 3. He's like there's 9 or 10 there of these little nuggets, and it doesn't seem like much, but remember how rare this metal is. And they're like, what the hell? Even Senku's surprised, and then that's when guys, how many decades would this have taken to get this much? Like this is a ridiculous amount. Like it doesn't seem it, guys. But Senku explains the science of it, like the amount, and Byakuya goes on and explains it even further later on. But this is a ridiculous amount considering the Earth's crust and how much platinum is actually available on the surface alone. It's a stupid amount. So after this part, we jump into more of the Byakuya backstory about how he was collecting gold dust and stuff for Senku. And here's where the feels start to creep up a little bit. So when we jump over to Byakuya, of course, here's where, as I explained before, we talk about the Earth's crust, and Senku brought up the the amount of like 0.001 or 0001 or whatever it was grams per platinum per the Earth's crust, blah blah blah. But Byakuya brings it up even further. We jump over to him and we see him older. He's got the big beard and stuff like that, and he's talking about this, and he says to everyone, he goes, "Look, like even to restore civilization, to start out science, to help the future, because that was always his goal, to help the future. That was the 100 Tales, all that stuff, right? To help the future, he needed to explain that this would be even more of an uphill battle. Even though Senku is a genius, and he's been like saying like, oh, this excites me. Like I'm going to fast track from Bronze Age, from the Dark Ages, all the way to the 19th century for gunpowder and sulfur and things like that, right? He's done that before, but without the material, it's impossible. And as Byakuya brings up, he goes, we as human beings, thousands of years ago, what we've done is we took all the easy to get at resources from the surface. You would need expedition tools. That's why they have oil fields and huge ass gold mines and stuff like that, because all the natural on the surface stuff to be able to find has long been wiped clean. And 3,000 years, 4,000 years, 10,000 years would not make that different. It's not going to rise to the surface. So as a result, he went down to the riverbed, by the looks of it, for hours and hours every single day, fishing out as much as he could, even as he said, I will collect as many rare metals as I can, even if only a little bit, just to help the future generation. And he counted on Senku. And we jump back and forth between Byakuya getting older and doing this, and people asking him, why? Why are you going so far? And he said, because I'm the last astronaut, the last man of science on the Earth as it is. I'm the last one, and I'm going to leave something behind for the future, because I know one day there'll be... And he had such faith in Senku. We've seen this throughout the entire series, ladies and gentlemen. But Senku has always been on his mind, and he knows it. He knows Senku will eventually figure a way out of this stone version, and he will get rid of this petrification, and he will be the one to lead the charge. So he has such faith in his adoptive son, in his son. Let's just call a spade a spade. In his son, he has such faith. It's beautiful and all that stuff. And we're jumping back forward. We see Senku just laying there in the schoolhouse, just counting the seconds, figuring out how many seconds have passed and stuff. And we see Byakuya getting older and older, and he tells people like, look, see this jar here, and that's the jar that, of course, was broken. He goes, when I die, like when I kick the bucket, please put this in the stone chest, blah blah blah. Put this in this location, right? And he's still, even as an old man, like we see him old. Like we saw him middle age, like 50s. Then we see him old. Then we see him freaking ancient. We see the man must have lived, he must have lived almost to his 70s. He clearly must be in his 70s by now, if not longer. He's got the warts or the skin spots on his forehead, big beard, all the wrinkles and stuff. Still down at the riverbed, still collecting as much as he can, And as Gen said before we got to this, how many decades would it have taken of constant work just to get this much? Because it's an insane amount when you consider the amount of work it would take to get it. And it's just like, it's amazing. So then we finally see Byakuya fall in the river that he was constantly collecting from. And he's facing kind of sideways and stuff long enough, and he's like, that's good. Like, he realizes he's dying, and he's like, that's good, because on the water's reflection, I can see space. I can see the stars, and that's good and stuff. And he's kind of at peace and stuff, and he realizes all this, and he's come full circle. He's like, he's done all he can, and he did a good job, sort of idea. But then at the very end, he cries, his last cry before he dies, and just thinks, Senku. You know, like, and even Senku, before this flashback, even Senku is shocked at the amount of platinum. Like, in like no less than like 2 or 3 panels, he's like, wait, what? Like, how much platinum is this? Like, this is a stupid amount of platinum. Like Senku himself is shocked by this, realizing who it is and stuff. And that's when Gen even says to him, after we get that flashback, you know, he goes, you know, you two really are like, you and your father, you two are amazing, you know, because you were the one who kept track of time for over 3,700 years, and your father was the one who was diligent enough to leave this much behind for a future, but leaving in us this whole time. Like, you two are just, like, you're way up here, sort of idea, like, giving them the highest of praises. And Senku goes on the old line, we've heard him say it before, it's like, well, it's not like we're related by blood or anything. And then it's like, no, dude, no. And we see them say that. It's like, no. Like, so what if you're not related by blood? Isn't he still your dad? And, of course, Senku knows that, because he says it in the best of ways, though. Because remember, he's a scientist. And this is fantastic, the way he says this, because, and this is where the feels are, because this is his dad. Because he even says in the end, he goes, you know, I asked him about it one time, and he told me I was his best friend's son. I never pried any further because it didn't really matter or interest me. And that's when, you know, he basically said it didn't matter. It never, ever mattered at all. And again, even said, like, everyone just kind of sits back and they feel it. They feel what Senku's feeling, sort of idea. And they're like, you're right. None of that actually matters. And it's like, oh, that's so nice. I kind of wish they had ended the chapter there. I mean, of course, they had to have platinum acquired in the last chapter. And of course, Senku's going to pull out some crazy shit in the next chapter. But I feel like this chapter stole the week. I mean, Dad of the Year in manga, anybody? You know, like, honestly, who's a better dad than this guy? Who's a better dad in manga? You know, I mean, we've had really shitty dads in manga. Let's see. We've had My Hero Academia alone. We have 2 crappy dads over the last couple arcs. One Piece. Yeah, no, we don't have very many good dads there. Let's see. What else do we got? Well, I mean, half of the dads in One Piece are dead, and the other half are like abandon their kids, or leave them to other people to raise. So there's that. Yeah, a Black Clover. Don't really meet too many parents there. Yeah, so pretty much Dad of the Year. I mean, argue down in the comment section down below who you think goes Dad of the Year trophy to in manga, but I'm giving it to Byakuya. I mean, he's just, like, what a guy, what a man. This was a great feels chapter, and of course Bocce's artwork, which is better than Murata's, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still going to tote that every time. It's just, with his artwork combined with his storytelling and everything, this is just, it's so wonderful, it's so good. I really do enjoy Dr. Stone. Now, of course, keep your eye out for the Dr. Stone episode reviews as well. I am reviewing the anime season 1 that is currently running on Crunchyroll. Of course, subscribe to Crunchyroll and stuff. And yeah, so that being said, guys, this has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for not One Piece, but Dr. Stone, chapter 115. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, comment, drink responsibly, as always, and we'll see you back here next time. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.